Hello and welcome back to Iden Stories, where we bring you inspiring Christian dramas that touch the heart, uplift the soul, and draw us closer to God. In today's story, They Said I Was Useless, you'll meet Leon, a man everyone had written off, but whose life is about to show that God's plans are always greater than man's opinions. This is a journey of rejection, faith, and divine turnaround. So, sit back, relax, and let this story remind you that no one is beyond God's reach. Let's dive in. A text message.
Dear Mr. Leon, we thank you for your application and the time you invested. Unfortunately, after careful review, we regret to inform you. Of course. You regret. They always regret. But never enough to actually give me a chance. It's funny. They told us in school that the world is waiting for us. That with hard work, the doors will open. That potential plus determination equals success. But no one told me that rejection would become my daily bread. No one prepared me for this silence.
Leon, I brought something to eat. You didn't come out all morning. Again.
I'm not hungry, Mom. Just leave it. Please.
I've watched you grow from a bright-eyed little boy who used to ask endless questions about life, to a strong young man who carried dreams in his chest like fire. I remember the night you got your admission letter. You danced around this room like the world had just handed you its keys. You believed that if you worked hard, stayed focused, and trusted God, everything would fall into place.
And I did, Mom. I kept my head down. I stayed away from trouble. I prayed. I even helped others study when I was already exhausted. I've done everything they told me to do. So why do I feel like I'm being punished for trying to do things the right way?
Because sometimes life doesn't follow formulas, Leon. Sometimes God delays the reward not because he's unfair, but because he's more concerned about building the man than handing out the blessing. I know it hurts. I know it feels like you're the only one stuck while everyone else is moving. But there is something sacred about this season, even if it feels bitter. It's where God molds your character, not just your career.
But how long, Mom? How long do I have to be the one staying back when others go forward? When people greet me these days, I can see it in their eyes. Pity. Some of them avoid me entirely because they don't know what to say anymore. I avoid mirrors now, Mom. Because every time I look in one, I don't see a man. I see a failure wearing a borrowed name.
You are not a failure. Don't you ever speak those words over yourself again. You may feel like one right now, but feelings aren't facts, Leon. And God doesn't name us based on our lowest moment. He calls us by destiny, not by disappointment. He sees who you are becoming, not just where you are.
Then why is he so silent? Why won't he just say something? Do something? I don't need a mansion, or millions, or fame. I just want to know I matter. That I'm not just existing, taking up space.
Leon, there are times when God is silent, because he's doing his deepest work. He isn't ignoring you, he's growing you. And when the time comes, the same people who called you useless will see the evidence of God's hand on your life. But until then, hold on. Not because it's easy, but because quitting now would rob the world of what God has placed in you.
I'm tired, Mom. I really am.
Then rest. But don't give up. Let me carry the prayers while you find your breath again. Because I believe in the man God is shaping here, even when you don't.
I'll keep praying, son. And when you're ready, try the soup. It's your favorite.
Isn't that Evelyn's son? Yes. Leon. Still at home, I hear. No job. Not even part-time work. And with all that education. Sometimes I wonder if all this school thing even works for everyone. Some people just don't have favor, you know.
They don't know me. They only see the silence of my success. They don't see the war I fight just to get out of bed every morning. The rejection letters. The unanswered prayers. The way my chest tightens when someone asks, "So what do you do now?" It's crazy how people measure a man's worth by what he earns, what he drives, how busy he looks. No one talks about the invisible fight, the mental battle of trying to believe you're enough when every sign says otherwise. I've shouted at heaven in the middle of the night and only heard my own voice come back. I've begged God for a single open door. Just one. Not even for my ego. Just for my sanity. They say I'm lazy. That I'm just not trying hard enough. But I've tried. God knows I've tried. I've knocked until my knuckles bled. Applied until I forgot which company was which. Smiled through interviews even when I wanted to scream. And yet, here I am. Still the guy walking around like a shadow in broad daylight. If silence had weight, I think I'd collapse under it. If disappointment had color, I'd be stained head to toe. People avoid you when you don't fit their idea of progress. They get uncomfortable around failure like it's contagious. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever break out of this invisible box they've put me in. The promising student turned forgotten graduate box. But more than that, I wonder if God still sees me. Still hears me. Or maybe I'm the one soul he skipped when purpose was being handed out. Maybe tomorrow I'll believe again. Maybe. Leon. My man, you just disappear from the world, huh? Had to bribe you with a drink to get you to say more than 3 words. You know me, man. I've been trying to figure out how to disappear without making it look dramatic. Well, if that's the case, you're doing a world-class job. But I didn't come here for drama. I came because I missed my friend. The one who used to make the loudest arguments in class, even when he didn't know what he was saying. That guy died somewhere between his 10th job rejection and the 100th we'll get back to you. I know it's been rough, Leon. I'm not here to throw cliches at you. I won't say everything happens for a reason or your time is coming. Because truthfully, I don't know when. But I know you weren't made for nothing. Sometimes I think God forgot me. Like, skipped my name when he was handing out purpose. You know how people say, you're destined for greatness? I've heard that all my life. But now it feels like a cruel joke. What if I'm the exception? Listen to me carefully. Purpose doesn't shout, it whispers. It rarely comes wrapped in applause and job offers. Sometimes it comes in silence, through endurance, through small things that don't feel spiritual. What you're going through, it's not wasted time. It's preparation. Preparation for what, David? To keep learning how to be okay with being invisible? I feel like I'm slowly fading, like I'm just watching life happen from the sidelines. Meanwhile, everyone else is posting promotions, new cars, weddings, passports. Have you ever considered that maybe you're comparing your planting season to someone else's harvest? Everyone posts their harvest, Leon. No one posts the nights they cried in secret. Or the prayers that went unanswered for years. You think I didn't have moments I wanted to give up? Bro, I cried myself to sleep more times than I care to admit. But look, I'm still here. And so are you. I just don't feel valuable anymore. My worth feels tied to what I can do. And right now, I can't do much. That's where you're wrong. You've always had something inside you, Leon, something that can't be measured by paychecks or job titles. You've got heart. You've got wisdom. You listen, you care, You endure. That's worth more than you think. Man, your problem isn't ability, it's belief. You've stopped believing that God can use what's broken. Maybe I just got tired of hoping. Hope is a muscle. When it gets weak, you don't kill it, you train it. And sometimes, God sends people to help with that. That's why I'm here. Not just to hand you a drink and say cheer up, but to remind you, you're not forgotten. By me. And definitely not by God. You ever get tired of carrying people like me? All the time. But I figured if Jesus didn't get tired of carrying me, then who am I to give up on a brother? Maybe I'll pray again tonight. Maybe.
Thank you for coming, Leon. I know it's unusual to be called out of the blue, especially when you're already weighed down with your own burdens.
To be honest, ma'am, I came because David said you were someone worth listening to. And because, well, I had nothing else planned today.
That's fair enough. I appreciate your honesty. But let me tell you something, Leon, sometimes, the best chapters of our lives begin when we feel like we have nothing planned.
I don't mean to sound disrespectful, ma'am, but why am I here? I'm not a pastor. I'm not even useful these days. I've been told I'm smart all my life, but lately, even I can't convince myself of that.
I've heard the whispers, Leon. Not the gossip, no. I'm talking about the whispers of destiny. And the whisper about you has been echoing in my heart for weeks. You see, I run a small after-school program at the church for young boys in the neighborhood. Most of them don't have fathers, and they're on the edge of going astray. We've been praying for someone who can reach them. Not preach at them, reach them.
And you think that someone is me?
Yes. I do. Because you understand pain. You understand rejection. And you haven't allowed it to turn you bitter. That's rare. Pain has given you compassion, and that, Leon, is one of the most powerful tools in ministry.
I don't even know what I'd say to them. I'm not trained in teaching. I don't even know if I believe I'm worth listening to right now. I feel like a walking reminder of failure.
Ah, but that's where you're wrong, dear. God has a strange way of choosing his vessels. He rarely picks the polished. He picks the broken, the ones who know what it's like to be shattered and still breathe. You're not useless, Leon. You're just unused.
I'm scared. What if I mess it up? What if they don't listen to me? What if I don't know how to help them?
You're allowed to be scared. Fear doesn't disqualify you, it just means you're aware of the weight of what you're called to do. But here's the good news, you won't be doing it alone. I'll walk with you. We'll walk with you. And more importantly, God will go ahead of you.
You really believe God can use someone like me?
With all my heart. And let me tell you something, young man, sometimes, it's the ones the world calls useless that God uses for his greatest work. When people see what he does through you, they'll have no choice but to admit, it was God.
Okay. I'll try. I don't know what I'll say yet. I don't know how to begin. But I'll try.
That's all God needs, Leon. A willing heart. The rest? He'll handle it.
I had no idea what I was doing. I wasn't a teacher, a counselor, or even a confident adult. I was just me. A man trying to find purpose in the middle of my brokenness.
In a youth meeting.
Hey. I'm Leon. I guess I'm supposed to talk to you guys today. Or something like that. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not here because I have all the answers. I'm not even sure I'm qualified to be standing in front of you. Actually, I came here scared out of my mind. and I almost turned back at the gate. You know why? Because I have been called a lot of things lately: lazy, useless, disappointment. I've spent the last 2 years sending out CVs and getting nothing but silence in return. I've watched friends move forward while I felt stuck in one spot, like the world had forgotten me. But then I realized something last night. Maybe the reason I haven't found a job is because what I'm really supposed to do isn't about money. Maybe I've been trying to prove my worth in all the wrong ways, chasing validation from people who only see results, not potential. I don't know what you boys have been through. I don't know if any of you feel useless, or like no one listens to you, or like you're just one bad decision away from being forgotten. But I know how that feels. I know how it feels to wake up and wonder why you even bothered getting out of bed. I know how it feels to pray, and all you hear is silence.
My dad left last year. Since then, everyone keeps telling me to be strong. But no one tells me how.
Yeah. People say things like that because they don't know what else to say. But strength doesn't always look like muscles or silence. Sometimes, strength is waking up and trying again, even when you don't feel like it. Sometimes, strength is crying, praying, or talking to someone you trust. And you can trust me, even if I'm still figuring things out too. Do you believe God really sees people like us? Like, for real? I didn't. Not for a long time. I thought he only saw pastors and perfect people. But then, someone told me that God doesn't need you to be perfect, he just needs you to be available. And broken people? They make the best testimonies. Because when God uses someone the world gave up on, nobody can take the credit but him.
How's it going?
He's not bad. Better than the last guy who just talked about discipline the whole time.
Well, I don't have a discipline sermon. But I can tell you about grace. And failure. And starting again. So, maybe next time, we can talk about what you want to become. Not what others expect from you, but what God has placed inside you. So, maybe next time, we can talk about what you want to become. Not what others expect from you, but what God has placed inside you. It wasn't a perfect start. I stuttered. I sweated. But for the first time in a long while, I felt like I mattered. And maybe, just maybe, that was the beginning of something God had in mind all along.
Wait. Is that Leon? Leon, the philosopher of unemployment?
Victor. Long time.
Wow. So it's true. You're here. At a church? Volunteering? That's what you've become now? Mr. All my degrees but no job.
I'm exactly where I need to be. And yes, I volunteer here.
Man, this is sad. You used to have potential. We used to sit in class together and argue about success. You remember that? You always said purpose mattered more than paychecks. We all thought you were deep. Turns out, you were just broke. You know I work at that oil firm now, right? Official car, 5-figure salary, international trips. I've got 10 staff under me. Meanwhile, you're babysitting angry teenagers in a plastic chair.
You know, Victor. For a long time, I believed everything you just said. I thought my value came from my salary. I thought success was measured by who clapped the loudest when you walked into a room. But I've learned something different, something you might not understand yet. There's a kind of fulfillment that doesn't come from money, applause, or office titles. It comes from obedience. Obedience to a calling that might look foolish on the outside but is rich with eternal purpose. You look at me and see a failure. But those boys in that hall? They see a man who listens. A man who prays. A man who's not pretending to be perfect but is willing to grow. I used to want what you have. Desperately. I envied men like you. Now, I pity you. Because deep down, I think you know something's missing. And until you find the reason you were created, not just the job you're qualified for, you'll keep chasing wind.
Well, we can't all be preachers. Some of us live in the real world.
God is in the real world too, Victor. You just haven't looked for him there.
You'll regret wasting your time, Leon. Life is not kind to men who settle for breadcrumbs.
I'm not settling. I'm walking in purpose. That's more than a paycheck can give me.
You handled it well.
Part of me wanted to punch him in the face.
And the other part?
Wanted to pray for him. I guess I'm growing. Not everyone will understand your journey. Some will mock it. Some will try to remind you of who you were. But when you walk with God, even the stones thrown at you can become stepping stones to something greater.
Leon. Hey, Leon.
Hi. I wasn't expecting to see you here. Thought you'd still be inside the center.
I just locked up. But I'm glad I caught you. You know, I've been meaning to talk to you. I've noticed you've been hanging around the neighborhood a lot lately, just walking. Like you're looking for something but not sure what.
That's actually not far from the truth. I'm trying to figure things out. Trying to find where I fit. You know, it's funny, all my life, people told me what I wasn't. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't capable. And now that I'm on my own, I realize I never really had the chance to prove them wrong.
Leon, sometimes proving them wrong isn't even the goal. Sometimes it's about proving to yourself that you're more than what they said. You do have something to give. I see it in the way you listen to people, the way you're patient even when others aren't.
Patience doesn't pay the bills, Emily. And listening won't stop people from looking at me like I'm wasting my life. You know what the worst part is? I start to believe them sometimes. I start thinking maybe they're right. Maybe I am useless.
No. Don't even go there, Leon. Words have power. You can't let their words become your truth. I've seen people who were written off by everyone, and they went on to do amazing things because they refused to let those labels stick.
You really believe that? That's someone like me, with no job, no degree, no anything, can still turn things around?
Asterisk, absolutely. And I'm not just saying it to make you feel better. In fact, we're starting a new community project next week. We need someone who can help organize supplies, talk to people, keep things running smoothly. I think you'd be perfect for it.
Perfect? Me? Emily, I don't think you understand. I've never done anything like that before.
That's exactly why you should. You'll be learning, growing, and helping people at the same time. And you won't be alone. I'll be there. The whole team will be there. Sometimes opportunity doesn't knock on a fancy door, Leon. Sometimes it's a small door, on a quiet street, and you just have to be willing to walk through.
You really think I could do this?
I don't just think, Leon. I know. And I think deep down. You know too. You've just been afraid to believe it.
All right. I'll think about it. Really think about it. Maybe this is the door I've been waiting for.
1 Corinthians 1 verse 27 But God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. Leon's path has been marked by closed doors, painful rejections, and the quiet tears no one saw. But in the shadows of his struggle, God was quietly setting the stage for something greater. Part 1 ends here, but Leon's story is far from over. The next chapter will reveal the moment everything changes. Stay tuned for part 2, you won't want to miss the breakthrough, the surprises, and the way God turns his useless label into a testimony of purpose. Thanks for watching.